Okay, so today, to deepen our connection with money, we're gonna go on a spending fast. No spending, cannot, totally abstaining. So a spending fast. And you may already have been expecting me to do this one, but I really want us to do it for real, and call into your awareness the same types of things that you would if you were doing a food fast and eating nothing for as long as you possibly could. That's the same kind of thing that we're playing with here. It's like, all right, we're spending nothing for as long as we possibly can. And first of all, how does it make us feel? How do we feel? Do we feel totally agitated and anxious or like panicked because, we're not allowed to spend something? Or do we feel really good? Is it nice to kind of be unburdened and to have rules and to, sort of see what your limits are and what, you can do to kind of prove to yourself like what you can do? What does that tell you already? We're deepening with ourselves and deepening with money and our relationship to money. I mean, am I more of a person that loves that personal growth, or am I more panicked when I kind of get constraints or rules? And does not having money or being able to spend really freak me out? Is that like a deep-seated fear? Just like maybe not being able to eat might be a deep survivalism kind of fear of yours. So there's that, how do you feel? But then also, just like we would when we're looking at fasting with food, when are you most tempted? When are you most tempted to break that fast and have something? What items, what things, what scenarios put you in the worst sort of temptation state where you want to break it and you want to break it bad? And what are those things? What do those things tell you? Is it a certain food or is it a social environment? Okay, fine. But with the money factor, okay, is it a certain type of item, a certain need? Is it when you don't want to be creative? Is it when you are like, I don't know how else to do this besides spend money, and you don't want to like push to that level? Or like I said, is it social when you don't want to have to say like, I'm spending no money? Or, does it have to do with certain items that you just love, like your favorites or your, dessert, in terms of what you financially buy for yourself? So those, when are you most tempted? And then also, when do you have to break it? Because there is always a point, especially when you're doing a food fast too, where you have to break it. You are at your max, you've abstained for as long as you can, and now you have to eat, you have to break it. When does that happen financially with your spending fast? When do you have to break it? And we are trying to do this as long as you possibly can. I mean, go however many days you can go, but when do you have to break it? When is there a need that comes up? There's an absolutely, I have to break it. And what is that? What was that circumstance? And how long did you go? I mean, just like with your fast, it's like, God, you might have tried this food fast and you tried not to eat, but you just got like way too hungry and I just had to break it. I had to break it. And then you realize like, oh my gosh, it was only 6 hours later and I got like so hungry and panicky that I just felt like I had to break it. And do you stand by that I had to break it? Was that really true? Or could you have probably pushed it if you look back in retrospect? And, sometimes it really is like, I had to, I was just too hungry. And oh my gosh, it was only 6 hours later. Whoa, So these are the kind of things that we want to play with. And certainly, what did you have to break it on? It might tell you something, it might not. It might be like, I had to break it because, my car broke down, or I got a flat tire, or, I couldn't get home and I didn't want to take the bus, or I couldn't be creative, or, my rent was due and I had to, that was the day it was due, and I was going to be kicked out. Like, sometimes they might not tell you much because they're really just like, I had to. But other times they might. It's like, I had to because, something else. And it was an emotional thing for you. And even in the scenario with the broken down car, like there were some other crazy things that you could have done. You could have not driven for several more days and left the car there and, taken the bus home and gotten a ride with a friend, whatever. So there's crazier things, but it was like, I had to, because those crazier things were just, I wasn't going to do them. Okay, so there's all these things, and again, it's deepening our connection with money. We're playing around with it. It is like a food fast. It's meant to be an experience, something that you go through and put yourself through to find out more about your boundaries and what you are and are not willing to do, and when you can and when you can't, and what are those temptations, and what are the things that are most important to you, and what are the things that are like, I didn't even bat an eye at that time. So, we're just seeing what our endurance is like with financial fasting and not spending anything, and hoping that that deepens our relationship or deepens our understanding of our relationship to money.